Price of Bitcoin surging again this morning, passing through the $73,000 level. Ethereum now up over 4,000. Joining us right now is Michael Novogratz, Galaxy CEO. Mike, let's talk about why it's ripping. It seems to me that this is simply a more of a supply-demand issue than it says anything about either even liquidity in the market or just about anything else, that this is actually idiosyncratic to this unique and particular moment. Am I wrong or right?
Well, listen, there's a mindset shift, right? That all of a sudden the U.S. has broadly endorsed Bitcoin, right? You think about what's going on in D.C., this is a vote, right? The American people have just voted, and they have voted they like Bitcoin and they like digital assets. And so Washington needs to get off the stick, get off the couch and start doing something, right? This is going to be an issue for Democrats in this election who have been perceived to be standing in the way of Bitcoin in races like Ohio and in Montana, the Senate races. You know, the crypto pack is putting in money. And so I think that's what you're seeing. You're seeing baby boomers get their first shot, right, through the RIA channel. Like there's $80 billion or $80 trillion of baby boomer wealth, and they're putting a small amount in. And Bitcoiners don't like to sell. Like they often think of their net worth and how many coins they have, not how many dollars they have.
That doesn't explain gold, Mike.
Well, listen, gold's going up as well. We have a political situation where both candidates seem to want to spend a whole lot of money. Right. You know, when Biden's deficit or Biden's, budget came out with a $1 trillion plus deficit, that doesn't engender a lot of spirit when it comes to wanting fiscal prudence, right? Bitcoin has always been a report card on fiscal stewardship. And we've got no stewardship in D.C. right now.
And we're cutting. We're cutting eventually. Don't you think Bitcoin is expecting the Fed to, when it pivoted? Did Bitcoin go down because of the hiking cycle we were in? Now it's going back up along with the.
Listen, there's two vectors of Bitcoin. One is adoption, and this move is mostly adoption, and the other is macro. And the macro factors are right, the Fed, but it's also and it's mostly Congress and the budget, right? We are running deficits that are in crises levels. Right. And when you look at our fiscal situation,
I think we're going to both agree it's the adoption issue right this very moment. 100%. It's more about adoption than it is about anything else, and it's adoption via the ETF, and therefore we have like a supply and demand problem.
And having.
Maybe, prices are set on the margin. Right?
You can throw in the having. Let me ask you this. Ethereum right now has moved in a big way. Part of that is on the back now of speculation or of an expectation somehow that we're going to have a Ethereum ETF and that is going to create a similar kind of dynamic. Do you think that that's the right way to think about it? And do you actually think that there will be an Ethereum ETF?
Listen, I think there's a fierce debate inside the SEC right now, right? I mean, Gary Gensler, before he was at the SEC, is on tape saying Ethereum is definitely not a security. Since he's been at the SEC, he hasn't made a ruling on it. And I think what the SEC is doing is debating, can they call Ethereum a security with this idea that it changed when it went from proof of work, right, for validation to proof of stake. If they can't make that argument, and I think it's a tough argument to make, they have to, they're going to approve the ETF because it's the same argument that won the Bitcoin ETF. There already is a futures Ethereum ETF. And so if you have it for futures, you have to have it for cash. That's what the court said last time.
Mike, who takes that case to court? Is that a Coinbase case? I don't even know. It's funny. Grayscale, which is effectively put this into business as an ETF, I don't know if that's actually been good or bad for Grayscale long term.
Yeah. Listen, I think if you're Barry Silbert and you own a whole lot of Bitcoin, a whole lot of shares in your own ETF, and the price goes up, 100%, you're pretty happy. And so, right, that court case crunched the discount from -40 to 0, and it drove Bitcoin prices up. And so the Grayscale holders are thrilled with that lawsuit. And I think the same would be true in Ethereum.
Mike, are you out of the business of telling us what? I wouldn't even try at this point. Remember, in the past, we've always asked you, all right, it's at 40. Is it going to 35? All right, it's at 35. Is it going to 30? All right, it's now at 30. Is it going to 20? So we went from 20,000 to 2, 63,000. We went from 65,000 to 17,000. We're now at 73,000. Are we past where, because of this adoption you talked about, are we past the point of it going back down to 20,000 and then back up, do you think?
Listen, I think so, but this has been a wild ride of an asset. We're in price discovery mode right now. And if you're looking at the charts, you could see 100,000, like that could be a target, but you don't know when you're in price discovery mode because we had $1 billion of inflows last night into the ETF complex. As long as that is positive, the price is going to keep grinding higher. Once that becomes negative, you'll see the first real correction. And so I think right now every trader is watching, add up the 9 ETFs and see what the net is. And as long as there's inflows. Now, of course, there's lots of other inflows and outflows in the Bitcoin universe. But right now, that's got the zeitgeist of what people are making their trading decisions off of. Things are frothy. Funding rates are high. And so in times like this, you always have to be ready for a correction. I don't think we go back below 50, 55,000. I think that's the new floor unless something dramatic happens.
See, I thought you were out of that business. I don't know if I.
Hey, Mike, one of the things that's so interesting is most of the inflows seem to be coming in via the ETF. It's an interesting way to play this, if you will. But if everybody ultimately is buying in via the ETF, and if that becomes sort of the majority approach to touching this quote-unquote asset, there's a question about what the asset is doing, right?
Well, listen, market cap at 74,000 is what, $1.5 trillion. And I think ETF is 40 billion. And so it's still a very small percentage of Bitcoin's price. The genius of Bitcoin really is that Satoshi white paper, which sets the monetary policy for this ecosystem in code. And in a world where, look at the Nigerian currency, pull it up on your chart. And so if you're in Nigeria, it's interesting in almost now in every country on earth, Bitcoin's made an all-time high, but in some of the charts, it's staggering how much wealth it preserved. And until you get countries that run more credible fiscal policy, people are going to want to buy that story. And it's a story that's spreading.